Hola, 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 ¿cómo están todos? Hoy, ni hao, halo, saubona, and hello. Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México, ustedes todos viven en mi corazón. La vida Goya. Mexico changed my life. UNAM changed my life. The time I worked there really touched me. I am forever parte de la comunidad de UNAM. What's happening in our world right now? We need to connect across cultures. I've been asked to make a video to explain how to connect across cultures. But I'm thinking, this is difficult. But campus life has changed. We're excited to go back. We're excited to see old friends, make new friends. And then the world slows down. How do we get that heartbeat back? We feel like our hearts have been ripped out with everything that has changed, with social distancing and online learning. What do we do? Well, we have an opportunity to unite and to build. And it's exciting. We have an opportunity. Campus life might be different, but we can bring the heartbeat back. Campus life at UNAM can be exciting this year. This is historical. Imagine what we can do. UNAM students are so lucky to have campuses all over the world. Can you imagine forming study groups with other students in another country through video calls? An example would be Zoom. You could have study groups with 7 different cultures on one Zoom call. These are lucky times. They may be hard times, but they're also lucky times. We have an opportunity to unite and to build something new. I've written a book, Cultures Connect, The Formula, your 7-step guide to building cross-cultural alliances at warp speed. I've been asked to give some highlights. My website, my book, give fuller examples. But today we're going to talk about a few highlights of how you can connect right now in this different campus experience. Campus experience has changed, but we have an opportunity. UNAM students, you have an opportunity to make it dynamic. Let's bring the heartbeat back to UNAM. Let's bring the heartbeat back to campus life. Pensando en conversaciones universitarias de ciencia, cultura y arte, we can make this a dynamic change, bringing back the campus conversations online. Pensando en las palabras de mis colegas de UNAM Sudáfrica, Centro de Estudios Mexicanos, hoy es tiempo para entendernos unos a otros. Hoy es tiempo para unir y construir. I think about the English translation of that. Now is the time. Now is the time to understand each other. Now is the time to unite and to build. But I like the literal translation better. Hoy es tiempo. Today is the time. Let's make a change today. Hoy es el tiempo para unir y construir. Let's do it juntos. Let's do it together. Goya! Goya! Kachung, kachung, ra, ra! Kachung, kachung, ra, ra! Goya! Universidad! Oh, hi. So, you want to learn how to connect across cultures? That's my favorite topic. I'm so passionate about this. Y les voy a decir una cosa de corazón. México cambió mi vida. Siempre digo que México cambió mi vida. Fue el primer paso en toda esta aventura para mí. For those of you who aren't privileged to speak Spanish yet, what I said from the heart was, Mexico changed my life. It's true. Mexico changed my life. When I was 20 years old, I went to Mexico for the first time to learn about the language and the culture. I could have never dreamed that since then I would go on to learn over 10 languages, live, travel, work around the world. It really changed my life. But what are we doing here at this academic desk? We don't need this. It's academic. Academics are the awareness phase, a very important first step. But what really helps us connect across cultures and change behaviors is action and application. Real engagement and interaction with people. Listening, telling stories, asking questions, leaning in, and being interested. I'm so excited to be putting all of my experiences over 25 years into a book, Cultures Connect the Formula, your 7-step guide to building cross-cultural alliances at warp speed. It all came about because people kept asking me, how do you speak so many languages? How do you connect with so many people, maintain those relationships across cultures? And it occurred to me, what seemed so natural to me, asking questions wherever I was, in the airport, on the airplane, in the grocery store, in my own neighborhood, larger cities, smaller cities, I would ask questions and I would listen to stories. And it occurred to me that perhaps not all of this is natural for everyone. The hearts are good, we're ready, we're awake, but sometimes we need a process in how. So fuller examples, explanations, and detailed research is in the book, but with our limited time here together, I'd like to highlight a few examples on how. I'm super excited about the how, because what I see is the world is awake, the world is ready, the awakening is occurring. A lot of voices are out there, some positive, some negative. I suppose it depends on what perspective you have. But if you look on social media, the news, the rallies, people are talking. People are passionate. People are upset. People are excited. The voices are out there and we need all of them, especially the ones you don't agree with. Those are the ones we need to listen to most. All of the voices are essential. But we're mostly concentrating on what is occurring, who is involved, and we're starting to get curious about the why, some of the systemic reasons for why our world is how it is today. But no one's talking about the how. How? What are the next steps? What do we do? And that's what I care most about. But before we talk about the 7 steps, it's important to describe culture. We're talking about connecting across cultures. We first should define what is culture. I'm going to refer to my notes. It's a good thing I still have a couple left. Culture can be described as learned patterns of perception, values, and behaviors. And these learned patterns of perceptions, values, and behaviors are typically passed on from one generation to the next. A key part of that is it is learned and it is shared by a group. Examples range from national cultures, Brazil, India, China, Germany, South Africa, but also there are regional cultures within national cultures, north, south, east, or west within any nation. Gender, faith, socioeconomic, work or professional cultures, law, sales, accounting, medicine, fashion, music, art, personality cultures, extroverts and introverts, and thought cultures and opinion cultures. Culture is pretty big, and the way I'd like to define it today is pretty much anyone or anything that isn't exactly like you. We're talking about connecting across cultures. The goal is to step on the path toward becoming a global citizen. And the way I see it is becoming a global citizen is 3 parts. Know yourself, know the world, and serve others. Know yourself. What is your personal identity? What are your personal talents and gifts that you can provide to others? Know your history, know your culture, know and learn more about yourself. Whenever I'm doing cross-cultural training in corporations or even one-on-one cross-cultural training, the first step, the audience always thinks, and the participants think, we're going to learn about the other side. Germans and Americans, Brazilians and Chinese, South Africans and Mexicans always believe they're going to learn about the other culture, but not first. The first step is to learn more about your own culture. And once you've learned about your national culture, you need to delve deeply into learning about your personal culture. Know yourself, know your identity, know your strengths, your talents, know how you lead best, know who you are. Step 2 in becoming a global citizen is know the world. Not everything about the world, but at least be interested. I encourage you to not just be an interesting person, be an interested person. It is great to be an interesting person, but being an interested person should be the goal. Listen, lean in, learn, ask questions. Step 3 in becoming a global citizen is to serve others. Take those personal talents, hobbies, goals, professions, whatever it is, and contribute. Contribute through volunteering, contribute through working, even making a profit, but contribute by serving others. You fill yourself up, and it is a step closer to what we're supposed to be doing to be a global citizen. So, what are the 7 steps? Están pensando, díganos pues, Cristen, ya es tiempo para explicarnos los 7 pasos, ¿no? Bueno, what are the 7 steps to connect across cultures? Step 1, know your intention. Step 2, know yourself. Step 3, know the other side. Step 4, discover common bonds. Step 5, lean in. Step 6, action and application. Step 7, rinse and repeat. ¿Qué quiere decir rinse and repeat? Practice, practice, practice. Step 1, know your intention. Whether it's a planned trip to Italy or a business meeting across cultures, face-to-face or on a video call, or a project for a university student working on a team across personality cultures, and you are dealing with that particularly difficult person on your team, or an intense disagreement with a family member. Set your intentions at the beginning. If you cannot do this with the team or with the partner with whom you're communicating, you can do it for yourself. Set your intention, because when you go off track, it is easier to reset, reframe, take a breath, and remind yourself of the purpose, the intention for the interaction across cultures. It is essential, because if the goal is to learn about the other side, your reminder to set your intention is to listen. If the goal is to get your project done on time, perhaps allowing each person to speak is the goal, even if frustrations arise. Knowing your intentions, setting your intentions up front, even help you on a pleasure trip to Italy. When travel opens up and we can do that again, it's exciting Because when you're asking questions, telling stories, listening, it's essential to remind yourself that there's a lot of learning that takes place by reminding yourself what your intentions are. Step 2, know yourself. Know your values, your traditions, your beliefs, your work style, your thinking style, your decision-making style. Know your temperament. Know your personality. Know how you function best. Are you a night owl or a morning bird? Know how you work best, think best, and what your preferences are. Because there is a deep connection, a deep correlation between self-awareness and the skill of empathy. And if we are to connect across cultures, we need to build the skill of empathy. Knowing yourself, knowing your limitations, your flaws, helps you realize other people have limitations and flaws. Knowing your strengths and your talents helps you remind yourself that others have differing strengths and talents. We need all these differences. Diversity is the goal. So don't change who you are, but be aware of how that may differ when you're in a group dynamic. Know yourself. This deep correlation between self-awareness and empathy is really exciting. And I encourage you to delve into that deeper. On my website and in my book, I do describe key ways and actions and activities of how to discover your own personal self-awareness. When you discover your mission, your purpose, your power, you really soar. And when you develop this self-awareness, you're able to work with others better. It's exciting. Step 3, know the other side. The Chinese philosopher Guangzi said, "You can't discuss the ocean with a well frog. He is limited by the space he lives in. You can't discuss ice with a summer insect. He is bound to a single season." Guangzi. If we live in a fishbowl experience and we don't come out to experience the other side, to learn about other cultures, other personalities, other thinking styles, working styles, opinions, politics, yes, I said it, politics, if we don't cross over to the other side to try to learn a bit about the other culture, national cultures, you can study their history, religion, you could study stereotypes that exist and don't exist. Some of the questions I like to ask when I'm connecting across cultures are, what is one of your favorite childhood experiences? And just listening to the story and the magic that comes out when you connect with people. Something I recommend when connecting with a different national culture and you're learning a different language, or even meeting with someone spontaneously. I met someone about 6 months ago in a furniture store, and I heard the language. It was a new language for me. It turned out it was Swahili. There was a college student and his parents shopping for furniture for his dorm room. I said, oh, this is so exciting. I've always wanted to learn Swahili. So I interacted a little bit and we talked, and I asked a few key phrases. And I do this when I meet anyone from another national culture. What I like to learn is the expression, I have Korean friends. I have German friends. I have Brazilian friends. I have South African friends. I have Mexican friends. You get the trend. Whatever culture you're dealing with, learn that phrase, because my recommendation is to learn 3 key phrases. The first 2 can be anything of your choosing. Greetings, interactions, hello, goodbye, how are yous. But the third is I have country national friends. Because eventually, when you say something, for example, in Mandarin Chinese, 我会说一点普通话，可是我说的不好，你普通话说得很好。And I stop, and there comes the question. I speak a little Mandarin Chinese. Your Mandarin is great. How did you learn it? Have you been to China? Do you know our language, our culture, our people? And I always answer with the same response. 我有中国朋友. Or in Korean, 나는 한국 친구가 있어요. Tengo amigos mexicanos. Eu tenho amigos brasileiros. And in answering that, if you go deeper, what does that mean when you say, I have friends in your culture? It really means I met someone before you who took the time to sit down, teach me this language expression. I had enough instinct to care. They had enough empathy to sit and teach me. It deepens the relationship. And you don't have to do it perfectly. A lot of my best friendships that started over a spontaneous interaction, over learning this phrase, came because I messed it up and they helped me learn. And just leaning in and taking an interest and trying to learn a phrase really shows care about the other side. And the other side is excited to help you. The last recommendation would be that something I always try to learn in another culture, learning about the other side, is a simple joke. En español, y les voy a decir que no es muy chistoso, pero es algo, ¿no? It's not super funny in Spanish. It's very, very simplistic. But the first joke I ever learned was, ¿Qué pasa cuando el sapo se cae en la leche? What happens when the frog or the toad, what happens when the toad falls in the milk? ¿Qué pasa cuando el sapo se cae en la leche? Pues nada, y nada, y nada, y nada. So what happens when the frog or the toad falls in the milk? Nothing. But it also means the third person singular form of he swims. So it's a double joke on that. And it starts off the friendship and kicks off the laughter. So I would recommend always trying to learn a joke, a simple joke in the other side's culture. Step 4, discover common bonds. You know, it's interesting. Typically when we are discussing of connecting across cultures, we start typically with how we are different and slowly try to come to the center and find similarities. But what if we started with the assumption that we're the same and we discovered differences along the way? I would like to tell you a story of something that changed my life that happened to me in Brazil. So I lived in Brazil for 3 years. I owned a language school there. I learned the Portuguese language. I was teaching Spanish and English and learning about Brazilian culture. I love Brazil. I had an amazing time. I left Brazil, came back to the United States, and 10 years later, I was hired by an American diversity organization to go with 50 representatives from 50 multinational corporations around the United States that were working with Brazil. And their goal was to learn about Brazilian culture, Brazilian people, and Brazilian work styles, how to work effectively with Brazilian nationals. I was hired to do some training projects. I was hired to be boots on the ground liaison between the language, the culture, the people, whatever word would come up. One of my projects was to organize a visit to Zumbi das Palmeiras Universidade there in Brazil. It was a university for Afro-Brazilian students. I was working with my colleague in Brazil, let's call her Maria, who was the head of the university there. So Maria and I built a 6-month relationship over the telephone. We emailed each other and we spoke on the telephone. We never saw each other, but we worked toward 6-month goal, toward the day I would arrive with our team to board a bus and go visit the university, interact with the students, learn more about the language, the culture, see if we could help, donate money. It was an amazing project. 6 months in the works, great relationship with Maria. We land in Brazil. 3 days before we're going to have the event and visit the university, I get a phone call from Maria. And she says to me, all in Portuguese, but she says, I have to cancel. I said, what happened? What happened, Maria? She said, I'm so sorry, but we're going to have to cancel. I said, well, you can't cancel. I'm going to look bad. My boss is going to fire me, So through friendship and through that bond we got back on track. And she said, fine, I'll see you in 2 days. The next day she called and she said, I'm canceling. I'm really canceling. I said, Maria, what's happening? Let's talk friend to friend. And she said, Cristen, we're embarrassed. The roads are flooded. The infrastructure is poor. We're worried that the bus is going to get stuck. Our university is in its beginning stages. We're not ready to impress all these 50 colleagues coming from the United States from multinational corporations. There was a brownout of electricity last night. We're embarrassed and we're not ready. I said, Maria, we want to help you thrive. They want to look at your university and see how we can build together. Let's do this together. Finally, at the end, we compromised of having representative for her university coming to the lobby of our São Paulo hotel to have deep discussions about race, religion, culture, and the situation in Brazil. But what really made the connection was this. She said to me in Portuguese, Cristina, eu vou fazer isso para você. Sabe por quê, irmã? Porque você é negra. A outra gente não entende a luta que a gente enfrenta o dia a dia. Mas você é negra. Você entende, Cristina. Eu vou fazer isso para você. Sabe por quê? Porque você é negra. So what she said to me in Portuguese was, I will do this for you, sister. And you know why? Because you're black. And other people don't understand what we confront every day. They don't understand the fight we've been through. And Cristen, you understand because you're black. I will do this for you. So I paused and I thought, well, she's going to meet me tomorrow. And I look like this. And I said, well, eu vou dizer uma coisa. Eu não posso ser mais branca. I said, I have to tell you the truth. I couldn't be any whiter. Blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin. But I care about a common cause. Discovering this common bond for fighting for the university, raising money for Afro-Brazilian students to attend university, sometimes the first member of their family. We were fighting for this cause together for 6 months. She was shocked. She said, você não tem irmã? Você não tem mãe, pai, primos, alguém que é negra? You don't have anyone in the family, a cousin, a mom, a dad? No one's black? So I said, no, but we really care about the same cause. And so when we met the next day, we both were surprised. Both of us were working on a diversity issue. Both of us, in our hearts and in our mouths and our minds, we say how much we care and how race is not a factor. But here it was, the assumption. The assumption was the unity of race helped us work together faster. But we misjudged the assumption. I was white, she was black. We assumed the same race. But look at the magic we did when we discovered it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with hearts and discovering common bonds. Step 5, lean in. What do I mean by lean in? Take the first step, reach out, make the first move. When we're trying to connect across cultures, differences, personalities, work styles, it's not always fair that you have to take the first step, but sometimes it's the only way to get the ball rolling. So leaning in is taking an interest, not just being an interesting person, but an interested person, asking more questions, listening to stories, holding back your opinions for round 1. Round 2, round 3, you can get into the heart of the matters and start to express yourself more. But in the beginning, let the other side express themselves. Lean in, take an interest, make the first move. Step 6, action and application. This is the step I love the most. When we talk about hashtag cultures connect challenge, it's coming. Wait for it. We'll get to that in a minute. When I talk about taking a risk, action, application, it really means stepping out of your comfort zone and making an intention to connect across cultures. And I promise you, the more you practice, the better you will do. And the more you practice, the more you will fail. Yes, you will fail. You will make mistakes. But the more comfortable you are inside the uncomfortable, the more comfortable we are to have those deeper discussions. So I'd like to share a story that happened to me at a salsa club in Detroit, across cultures. I went with a group of girlfriends from many different nationalities, Brazilian, French, Mexican, myself. That evening at the salsa club, I met a tall, handsome gentleman from South Africa. Now, I had learned a little bit about South Africa a few years prior when I worked with the United Nations on a project. And I met the ambassador from South Africa to the United States. Asked some questions, learned about the dialogues of the people, apartheid, obviously some history there, language, culture. I didn't know enough about South Africa, but I knew a little bit. I learned some Afrikaans, and I interacted with this gentleman at the salsa club. We had a beautiful interaction. And he said, I'm so excited that I meet someone outside of my culture that knows a bit about my nation and my people. We interacted, we had a good time. I would call it successful. Thank you very much, nice to meet you. I excused myself and I went on to the restroom. Now, we girls out there, ya mujeres ya saben que encontramos muchas mujeres adentro del baño, ¿sabes? So, a lot of women we know, we have these great conversations meeting in public restrooms. I hate to say it like this, but it's the truth. So, I heard a woman saying to a friend, oh, you South African princesses, you're just alike. And she was teasing her girlfriend. I thought, there's another South African here. I came around the corner and I looked. Beautiful model of a woman, South African, black skin, beautiful, about 25 years old. And I said, you're from South Africa? I just met someone from South Africa. Said, no, I'm the only one here tonight. I said, well, I do think there's another gentleman. No, it's just me. I said, well, I was interacting with him and I was speaking Afrikaans. And she stopped, she looked at me and she said, Afrikaans? That's the language of the oppressor. The bathroom fell silent. In my heart, I knew what had happened, but I was caught in the moment. And I realized I messed up. Zulu, of course. So I said to her, I'm sorry, do you speak Zulu? Yes, I do. And I thought, here's my opportunity. And I said to her, could you help me? She was a little interested. The bathroom, all the people started to relax a little bit, wondering what's going to happen next. Essentially, she had called me the oppressor. She doesn't know about me. She doesn't know what I do for a living. She doesn't know how much I care. She doesn't know that I've traveled the world, that I do this for a living, connecting with people across That doesn't matter. I messed up. I'm in the moment, and I have a choice. So what I said to her was, could you help me? Could you help me so I don't make the same mistake next time? Is it better to ask, oh, you're South African. Do you speak Afrikaans, Zulu, Xhosa? She said, yes, that's a bit better. I said, thank you, because I'd like to learn a few phrases in your language, and maybe you could help me. Okay. Would you like to meet the gentleman outside? She said, okay. I introduced her to the other South African gentleman. It turns out that they have family members, an aunt and an uncle that live in the same small village. They were embracing, they were excited, the end of the story was beautiful. But there was a moment that I was caught in the middle, and it wasn't about defending my honor or telling her who I am and how important I was and how I study culture. No. I unintentionally offended someone, and there was a misunderstanding. And I had the chance to defend myself or to lean in, reframe, set my intention, and correct it by being humble and asking her to help me. So action and application is an amazing phase. It's exciting to meet across cultures in your study groups, on the basketball court, on Zoom calls, in business meetings, in our daily life, on trips. Sometimes it doesn't go well. So when you're trying to connect across differences, you may fail, but it's okay. It's how we get through that moment that really is the biggest success. And finally, step 7, rinse and repeat. ¿Qué quiere decir rinse and repeat? Practice, practice, practice. The more we practice and get outside our comfort zones, the more we will feel comfortable inside the uncomfortable. The more we will fail, the more we will succeed, jump back in, try again. Practice, practice, practice. It's not only okay to have different viewpoints across cultures and different experiences. It's essential. It's what we want. It's how we expand, how we create, how we grow. So diversity is the goal. We have diversity everywhere. Just look around. That's present. It's how we work within our differences and see them as assets. This is an exciting time to focus on that, and I invite you to be a part of the Cultures Connect Challenge. The more we get out of our comfort zones, the more we expand and the more we try, the more we bridge those gaps across communications. Come join me. Let's do it. And in closing, I'd like to say, if we really want to connect across cultures, we should look at how do we bridge the communication gaps? How do we look at systemic rewritings? How do we write the chapter for the future? What do we want the future to look like? For the world, but also just in one relationship with your brother, your sister, your business colleagues, a political meeting, or a personality clash with someone inside your university campus project. If we really want to move forward, we step back and we think about the 7 steps. Know your intention, know yourself, know the other side, discover common bonds, lean in, action and application, step out there and take risks, and rinse and repeat. Repeat it. Step back in and do the formula again. If we really want to make changes in the world, we have to try. So you all are catalysts for change, for positive change. So I invite you to be a part of the Cultures Connect Challenge in your classrooms, with your professors, everywhere you are, on the streets, with your parents, in your backyard. Try it. Try to connect across differences and cultures. And let me know how it goes. I'm excited. Let's do this. Okay, hablando mitad en español, en inglés, vamos adelante. Speaking half Spanish, half English, let's do this. You asked for it, we've got it. The Cultures Connect Challenge. What is #Cultures Connect Challenge? It's a deliberate global initiative encouraging people to connect with as many cultures across differences, as many cultures as you can in 1 week. Ready, set, go. In your backyard, in your school system, at your place of work, in the grocery store. And today, a lot of it is video conferencing and social media online in this current environment. So, why are we doing this? Our minds are ready. Our awareness is there. The world is primed. We are ready. Our hearts are opening. Empathy is building. And then what? What's the action? This is the action. Can you imagine how exciting this will be to launch this with UNAM students? Goya, Goya, kachun, kachun, ra, ra, kachun, kachun, ra, ra, Goya, Universidad. Can you imagine how exciting this will be to be the catalyst globally to see what positive change we can make in 1 week. Cultures Connect Challenge, a deliberate global initiative encouraging people to connect with as many people across differences in 1 week. So, how do you do it? There are 5 steps, 5 simple steps. The first step is choose with which cultures you'd like to connect. ¿Con cuáles culturas quieres conectar? The second step is engage and interact. Really listen. Tell stories, engage and interact. Ask a lot of questions and do even more listening. Release yourself and free yourself of opinions and reactions. Oh yeah, easier said than done. Try doing this over politics. This is coming from the heart. I would love to encourage you. There are 7 days in a week, in most earthly weeks. Yeah, there are 7 days. Choose 7 different cultures. When we talk about cultures, we talk about religions, ethnicities, national cultures, personality cultures, gender, generation. Diversity and differences are everywhere, but it also comes down to thought and opinion cultures. So just scroll through your favorite social media page and find something that stirs you up passionately and say, that might be something I need to learn about. Something you disagree with. Yes, I'm saying it. Something you disagree with and you'd like to learn more about. So your role in engaging across those cultures is to ask questions and listen. And just really listen. So some of those engagements out of the 7 days can be light and exciting. Maybe you've always wanted to travel to Italy, and through a Zoom call, you can participate in a group or individual call learning with Italians, speaking with Italians about the culture, the history, the food, what you can do when travel opens up and we're ready to explore more face-to-face. This will be exciting, but it can be exciting right now. People have Zoom calls everywhere. People have video conferencing. You can see the background. They can take you to their own house with their own cell phone. There is a way to do it right now. It's exciting. Imagine what we can do in 1 week. Catalyst to change, positive change for the world in 1 week by trying. Just trying. You're not going to get this perfect, and that's okay. That's the fun part. So much opportunity and growth comes from mistakes. Messing it up is the best thing ever because you get to learn, reflect, grow, step in, do it again. So, revisando un poco en inglés, después hablamos en español de los 5 pasos, ¿no? Primero en inglés. The first step, choose which cultures you want to connect with. You may need to do a little research on that choosing. So for example, if I want to connect with South Africans, I don't want to necessarily say, "Hallo, goeiedag." If I just say, "Hallo, goeiedag," and focus on the Afrikaans, I have forgotten completely about the rest of South Africa. There's more than just Zulu, by the way. So if I learn how to say Sawubona and Salagahe, that's a start. But there are more languages, there's more cultures that I need to learn about. Now, it's not about perfection, but doing a little bit of research shows the other side that you've tried. And when you make mistakes, the other side can help you and grow for the future. So step 1, choose which cultures. Step 2, really engage and connect at a deeper level, de una manera más profunda. Really dig in and deep, especially with things that maybe stir you up a little bit. Step 3 is to reflect. Sit back, pensar y escribir unas cosas, ¿no? Like, how did it go? Did it go well? Did it not go well? And what type of information would you need to step in the next time? So step 4 is to record. When I say record, I mean record your notes, record your thoughts, write this down a little bit, and record the experience in the sense of a memory. Take a picture, a screenshot, some sort of memory so that you can, step 5, share. Share your recent experience of connecting across cultures. Share it. What does share mean? Share in 2 ways. Share on social media and share in your daily life. The biggest differences come when you share in your stories by retelling it in your daily life. There's power in retelling a story. I'll give you an example. I had an amazing experience moving into my new house, and the amazing experience was learning about the people who lived here before me. I was outside in the front yard, and I met the neighbor's gardener. And he told me, wow, the previous people that lived here did not take care of their lawn. Maybe it's because they were Korean, but their lawn was messy. And I thought to myself, I could keep quiet or I could engage. So I decided to share. And I said to him, well, what I've learned is it's not because they were Korean, it's because they were busy. I learned that the previous owners had 2 baby girls. They had twins. And the father, he worked. He was an opera singer. The mother, she worked. She was a piano teacher. And they had 2 baby girls. They were simply busy. They didn't have time for gardening or making their front lawn presentable because they were busy. So I said to him, I don't think it's because they're Korean. I think it's because they were busy. They had baby girls and they worked a lot. He said, I remember that. He said, that's right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. It's just that they were busy. So that moment really stuck with me because I almost didn't say anything. But he thanked me for it later to say, oh, that's not really what I meant. What I meant was, yeah, but it made him think. And it made me think, how can I do better? How can I speak up when I hear small comments like that? How can I do better? So share on social media, pictures, screenshots of your video calls, and share in your daily life. Even share how maybe the experience did not go well and how you learned to do better for next time. So, hablando en unas palabras en español, primer paso es conectar. Hay que escoger, primer paso, escoger para conectar. Escoger con cuáles culturas quieres conectar. Segundo paso es para interactuar, pero de una manera más profunda. Escuchar más que hablar. Tercer paso es para pensar un poco y el 4 paso, escribir de unos pensamientos. ¿Cómo puedo hacer de esta manera mejor? Hay que hacer unas pesquisas para la próxima vez, tal vez sí. Recordar, grabar, pensar. Y el paso final es compartir con todos. Compartir en social media y compartir en tu vida, en el día a día. Durante conversaciones, cuando otras personas dicen una cosa que piensas, ¿sabe qué? Quiero contar mi experiencia que yo tenía con otras culturas, con otras diferencias. Share it. Compartir. Y por mi raza hablará el Espíritu. Y cuando hablamos de mi raza es una raza, es la raza del mundo. Si queremos cambiar un poco el mundo, tenemos que pensar en mi raza, es una raza. Y por mi raza hablará el Espíritu. For my people, the Spirit shall speak. And when we think of my people, it's really one people. The world is one race. Mi raza is one race, the human race. Let's go connect. Cultures Connect Challenge. Let's do it.